All right. I can hear myself. Does anybody out there hear me? Michael Bublé? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm so excited. Cool. There you are. What's up, Ryan? Ryan, did you doubt me that I was going to be on time? I think it was you, wasn't it? Katie, how are you tonight? DJ Jazzy, hello? Crazy girl. One of my wives. Hello from Gilbert, Texas. Teresa Trim from Bama. My buddy Josh, who is one of our moderators. Josh is going to be helping us out through the evening here. We got, I don't know, maybe an hour's worth of stuff. We just had a brand new tornado warning like a few moments ago. That's why I was putting everything together here pretty rapidly, because we do have a new tornado warning in Perryton, Texas. So we'll be looking at that. And they did mention just a few 15 minutes ago in a Mezzo discussion. We'll look at that in just a couple of minutes. They did mention putting out a watch, and it's like a 60% chance. It's amazing how we go with ratios here. And they give you like a 60% chance that they'll put out a watch, which is a 40% chance they won't. So it's a little fence straddling right there on whether or not they're going to put out a watch. I don't know if I like that. That's kind of new, and it doesn't really help me out very much at all. Hong Kong. Edward R. Murrow. I won an Edward R. Murrow Award one time, many years ago. So don't laugh. I'm just here for the rooster. Well, then you got a while to wait, because she's a chicken. And she's asleep at the moment. Megan from Canada. Hey, Megan. How are you? I got a friend of mine here from Canada, and I was listening to her today. She kept saying out and about. And I love to hear her talk. I just love people from Canada, by the way. Ohio's in the house. Jennifer Snyder from Ohio. Are you a first-time watcher, Jennifer? I don't know that I've seen you on here before. Roger Duke from Monroe, Georgia. Is it Monroe or Monroe? Killer. I've seen you here many times before. Stephanie's in Kentucky. We're going to have like all 50 states here represented. We got a bunch of views right off the bat, too. 218 all of a sudden. So we got a lot to talk about here. Suzanne Dubois, been there. My dad used to teach high school in Marouge. From England, get out. Leslie, are you really from England? How do I know? How would I find out this stuff? Because we've had a lot of people from a lot of different places, and I wish I could verify that, because it could be from Albertville, Alabama, for all I know. I don't really know how to look that much. But, all right, we got a ton to talk about here tonight, so we're going to get into that very quickly here, because we do, in fact, have a tornado warning right now, and as always, it takes precedence over what is happening. So we're going to look at this first and foremost right now. It's a tornado warning in Perryton. This is right there into the Panhandle. It's almost to the Panhandle of Oklahoma near Guyman, and so that is our first tornado warning of this entire event here. So we've already got a little bit of instability into the atmosphere that is reason for what is being kicked off here at the moment. And already seeing some of the dew points rising up here back into portions of Kansas and Nebraska, actually. We got thunderstorms just to the east on I-70 here. It looks like we got thunderstorms just east of Goodland, Kansas, that are already popping up to Oberlin and to Norton and on down to the south into Waukene. And then down to the south into Dodge City. Got some thunderstorms here as well. But you get into the Panhandle of Oklahoma, we got these thunderstorms that are moving across near Perryton. And right now that is a tornado warning. The National Weather Service there says northeastern Ochiltree County is underneath and central Beaver County, south central Beaver County until 8:45. This is a tornado warning here at 8:04. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado is located about 4 miles to the northeast of Perryton. My mic sounds hot in my ear. I don't know if it's hot coming to you. A tornado and quarter-size hail is very possible here. It's about 4 miles to the northeast of Perryton, moving northeast at about 25. And I would dare say this is catching a lot of people off guard, because I don't think too many folks were actually in hot pursuit of this. They were waiting for what's going to happen during the day tomorrow to really take place. And so right now we do have this as a brand new tornado warning here, and it lies within an area. You can see a couple of boxes here. This is a special weather statement, which we don't really care that much about. They did go ahead and issue a severe thunderstorm warning, but with the tag that a tornado might be involved here too. And winds are right now at about 60 miles per hour and beyond. So pretty much what you see is what you get. This is not a bad tornado just yet, but right now, and by the way, for those of you who are just now watching, I'm using Radar Omega. It is my app of choice. I really like Radar Omega. I'll be showing you why as we go through the next hour or so. You can ask me questions about it. I've used other apps since their inception, but I got hooked on this one a while back, and I actually work for them now, so anything that I say can be used against me in a court of law, which wouldn't be the first time that actually happened. So anyway, that's where we are right now with what you see is what you get. We have a tornado warning currently in effect coming into Oklahoma on the south side, moving at about 35 to 40 miles per hour at the present, and we're being set up, folks. This is going to be an area that we'll be looking at. Look at all the colors popping in. These are all winter weather advisories that are up and down the line. Blizzard warnings to the north. They go all the way up into South Dakota, North Dakota. Down to the south here, we have some other winter weather advisories that go through the Colorado Rockies, I-25, all the way down to the south to Tucumcari, and to the west over to Phoenix and into the Tucson area, Flagstaff. We got winter weather advisories. There's actually a snow squall warning that is in effect. That's kind of new. Snow squall warnings are somewhat new. It's a dangerous snow squall was located along Interstate 17 from Rimrock to Stoneman Lake Road, or about 10 miles to the southeast of Sedona, moving northeast at about 15 miles per hour. So we've already got evidence of some nasty weather that is showing up in these areas here. They don't even show up really on the radar that well, but there's quite a bit of that going on here at the moment as far as the winter weather that's going on out into the west. And one of the things that I sort of noticed, I was living out in Denver for 10 years. I grew up in Alabama. I'm back in Alabama now, but I was living in Denver for about 10 years or so. And the one thing I really noticed is when we'd have a snow event coming out of the Rockies, a couple of days later, it ended up being a severe sort of southeastern sort of a situation that was taking place. And this one is no different. We're going to be set up for the next couple of days to have dew points that keep going up during the day tomorrow and beyond. So we'll be looking at all of that. Minnesota, you're from Minnesota. We had your first tornadoes in December last year. One took out my bank in Heartland. That's pretty sad. I started working for a company in Minnesota. I lived up in Eden Prairie, Chanhassen area there for a while on Lake Minnetonka on a boat for a while there. So I've been up in that area there too. So anyway, it's pretty much what we're looking at there overall, and we'll continue to do so. So we're watching the radar imagery out of here. The one that we were watching a little bit earlier, I think they're going to take us straight to the radar out of... Well, they didn't actually take us there. But anyway, what you see here is the velocity data. We're a little bit out of the range here. What we're looking at the moment is just out of the edge of the 70-mile Doppler radar range, so we're not really getting good information there as far as this tornado goes just yet from Doppler. But they are saying, did they say that was, they're still saying is radar indicated. So a little bit of help there as it gets a little bit closer into into Oklahoma. We're going to have a tornado warning in Oklahoma here shortly for a couple of counties there before it moves on to the north. And we're still watching this entire area as we go through the next 24 hours or so. And here's why. So much to talk about as we look on down the line. Yes, we are live. We have this enhanced look for the day tomorrow that will be one of our main features as we go through the day tomorrow. We'll be watching to see if everything sets up the way it looks to be setting up. And I don't want to say it's similar. There are some things that are similar about this and the last one that took place, but still a lot of things that aren't very, very similar either. So it's a little, the situation this time around is very diurnal in that a lot of this depends on the time of day. Your peak times are going to be near that 3 to 5 p.m. time zone, both days, or hour. Both days, tomorrow, Tuesday, and again on Wednesday, maybe even Thursday, because they still have a risk on Thursday into the state of Florida. That'll be water spouts that'll be coming on shore, the Tampa side, the western side of the Gulf of Mexico. And so kind of watching everything that goes on there. It's a slight risk for the remainder of the night tonight in that area that is drawn there that goes all the way down to the Red River and up to the north into Dodge City and beyond. The threat for tornadoes, sure, a few of them. They should be isolated. The bigger deal here is I think that some large hail may start to show up in some of these areas here too, especially they were saying after 03, which is 9 o'clock, within the hour, as the jet gets more involved in what's happening here across this area of Texas. So it's a slight risk. We got southerly wind flow that's popping on into the area here pretty well, and as that does so, we'll just continue to see instability flowing back into this region, and there's going to be plenty of it. We'll be talking about dew points. We'll be talking about the shear factors during the day tomorrow and again on Wednesday. And all those things look a little bit similar to the last event that went through, except it's a little bit more isolated here. The cutoff line to the north is really sharp. See that warm front I drew there on the map? That wasn't very easy. I did that. It's kind of hard to draw, actually, so I hope you'd appreciate the warm front there. The rest of it, the enhanced area there, goes all the way up to I-20, really, to Monroe, Louisiana, back over to Shreveport, some of those northern parish counties. That may be the first time I ever said parish counties. They're not counties, they're parishes. And as far to the west is Lufkin. And as far to the south, really, is Beaumont, Port Arthur, and then back over to Alexandria. Then we're including southwestern sections of Mississippi, and probably, again, like I said, late tomorrow night, that continues. It doesn't just die out, so we have it again on Wednesday, a little bit further to the east, that we'll be looking at, too. And it kind of hugs the coast there originally, and then sort of, moves on, I guess you would say, a little bit further to the east into the panhandle of Florida and beyond. So, pretty much, we'll be talking about Oklahoma here in just a second. We're going to look at the modeling here. We'll talk about when it's going to hit everywhere is what we'll be doing when we're expecting that as far as the modeling goes. On Wednesday, that slight risk still hugging the coastline, you can see. But now it includes Baton Rouge. It includes Hattiesburg, Laurel, Mississippi, also Meridian and Jackson into a slight risk. A lot of that would come in off the Gulf of Mexico as water spouts. But it doesn't have to. We know from the last event around that we had the tornado there in Mobile and Saraland and over there in Mobile County, that they don't always have to come from that direction. Again, there's a slight risk for Thursday as well, so it just kind of migrates on to the south and moves across the state of Florida, getting on into the Thursday and Friday time period. And I don't think any of these, that could be upgraded, actually. A lot of this is going to depend on, the time of day, too. Climatology says, by the way, for a 20-year period at mid-December, most of your tornadoes come in this general area. About 20% of them do. Significant tornadoes, this F2 or greater, the EF2 or greater size, would come somewhere down there into southern Mississippi and like Louisiana. So weirdly enough, it's not unheard of to have tornadoes this time of the year. It's a little springy, like to be seeing the dew points coming up so high. I mean, it's felt really warm outside into the deep south over the past couple of days, actually. So the low pressure will be jetting on out through the Colorado Rockies. The cold front, you can already begin to see in the surface map here. There's low pressure down in the Gulf of Mexico, insignificant, though. There's high pressure to the northeast, which is very significant. High pressure into the northeastern United States means an easterly flow on the east side of the Appalachians, which we call a wedge, and that's going to have a great effect on portions of Alabama, Georgia, and as far to the south as maybe even South Alabama. Visible satellite imagery once again shows you the cloud cover. The sun came out for a little while, like literally hours today in Alabama, where it's been cloudy for 8 or 9 days and rain. Trajectory of the upper level winds is such that you can see it's coming in from the southwest. Got this big gaping low pressure center coming into the Southern California region, and rounding the turn, that'll energize what we got going on as we move into the next 24 hours. Now, I wanted to show you this. This is one of the forecast models that we're looking at here, which indicates to us that at 500 millibars is half the atmosphere if you go up. The jet is kind of wild here. That red color that you see is indicating winds that get near between 80 and 100 miles per hour at the 500 millibar level, which just tells us we've got a jet stream that's kicking through here. The low pressure into the mid-levels, right on up here into Kansas and Nebraska. You can see it very easily. And about right here's where you get the peak. This is moving into the day on a Wednesday here, and this is where we, really start to see it peaking out as far as the upper level winds go at this point out of the southwest. So we got winds out of the west southwest at one point, but we're also seeing veering. We're seeing the winds that'll be veering with height as you go up. Southerly winds down at the surface, winds coming in out of the west with height. The more you go up with height, so that is the ingredient here, if you will, for kicking off the shear that'll be developing across the state of Louisiana, southern Louisiana in particular, as it all kind of heads south and eastward throughout the rest of that region. So pretty much what we're looking at here at the moment is most of that moving very rapidly off to the east and troughing out right here across central sections of Texas and beyond. We'll really start to see, this is STP, this is the significant tornado threat, if you will, and by that, the red coloring is indicating where we have the highest risk for a significant tornado would be down to the south like that. And the dew point conditions that we're talking about, where you see the line here, that's going to be dew points between 60 and 50. So the blue is actually the isotherm that is for 60 degrees. So we're pretty much looking at, the 60-degree isotherm line coming pretty far to the north already. That's tonight, and all the way up to Dallas, actually, and Wichita Falls. And that's why we're already looking at a couple of strong thunderstorms. They didn't continue the tornado warning, by the way. They did allow that to expire. And now, as you can see, our dew points that keep going up. We'll look at this in more detail in just a few moments, but we get into the noontime hour and beyond during the day on Tuesday, and you can see a very sharp cutoff between the dew points being into the 60s and the dew points being in the 50s. And even the 70s, down here to Houston, Beaumont, Port Arthur, Baton Rouge, you'll be in the 70-degree area with the dew point conditions. And that's just a lot of instability. That just tells us that we're going to end up seeing the air. You can hit it with a stick. You hit a cloud with a stick tomorrow, and it's going to rain in this area. There's just so much instability around. It's not going to take much to kick off scattered thunderstorms across most of this area, so I wouldn't be expecting a whole lot different. Right now, that's now a new severe thunderstorm warning that has 30 minutes on it. It did have 30 minutes on it, but it's a severe thunderstorm warning out of the Weather Service in Amarillo for Beaver County in the Panhandle of Oklahoma, Lipscomb, and Ochiltree. I think I'm pronouncing that right, near Perryton. And they've got some strong winds, some golf ball size hail being reported just a little while ago. The inbound and the outbound is pretty easy to see there as well. We'll go to the Amarillo radar, get a little bit different perspective of what's happening. Still, we're out of the Doppler radar range there, off to the north, near the town of Beaver. And Knowles, it's really right there along State 66. It looks like near the Kit Carson Highway goes through there, coming out of Kit Carson County over there into Colorado. So, that's in the short answer for all that is, we're probably looking at that being this is going to be a 2-day, if not 3-day event that'll be coming up. So, kind of watching everything as it unfolds here. And with all the new modeling coming in, we get a little bit different perspective. Let's just go and talk about when it's going to happen. We'll just do that with reflectivity here. First of all, and let's see. Let's go to the 18Z. We'll update this as it goes along. Right now we're going to use the noontime data of the NAM 12K because it has the highest resolution of really anything out there at the moment that we could use. Actually, that's not true. We can use the HER and go to the 0Z, which should be almost full. Take us out 44 hours. Let's do that. We'll use the HER here because it's the 0Z data. And already an indication, if you look at the model here, that we do see the thunderstorms that are breaking out in Oklahoma City. I'm not sure if you said Oklahoma City. What's up, man? Pat, how are you tonight? Dart Smith, thank you for being with us tonight. Really do appreciate that. So, Tulsa, Oklahoma City, down to Norman and Oakland. This is, as far as timing goes, that's kind of where we are at the moment. A few thunderstorms back to the west. But we'll go up through about 10 o'clock tonight, and you can see that's these that have just broken out that are already showing up. But they show up from Liberal over to Dodge City, down to Pampa, and then all the way down to Lubbock and beyond. So they're in the model, in the short-term model for 10 o'clock tonight. And then the heavy stuff really starts to become linear here and goes from I-70 and Hayes, Salina, southward over to Dodge City into the Woodward area there near Elk City and beyond over to Vernon throughout the rest of this region. So it's really lining up pretty well. This is midnight, 1 a.m. tonight. So not quite into Oklahoma City, not quite into Woodward or past Woodward. Chickasha, you're down to the south there, Lawton and Wichita Falls. And then we start to get into it in Oklahoma City about 3 o'clock in the morning. And these are likely going to be some strong to severe. The possibility, we've already had one tornado, which means we've got spin there into the area. One tornado warning. It was radar indicated. It wasn't actually sighted, but enough to be a little bit concerning. Overall. Let me change my map. I'm not really wild about the black here, so we're just going to go with the satellite basic background, which is something that I love from. So they did issue a tornado watch and a new tornado warning. So there's a brand new tornado watch which covers Guymon, and it'll come out here soon. It's two counties. It's the two counties. It's Guymon County and one county to the east, and then all these counties down here near Pampa. So the new tornado watch is going to be like this. So this will be the brand new tornado watch. It'll be issued in just a few moments. I got the prelim for it, but it'll be issued here pretty soon. You'll see it show up on our deal here. So if you live somewhere around here, just east of Guymon, certainly you want to be paying attention to what's happening with that, because it won't be that long until there is a tornado warning that'll show up here on the graphic. There is a tornado warning. They did go ahead and reissue this as a tornado warning here. It's the same storm. It's the Perryton storm. They're not making this very clear. It's going to be on US 83, just to the east of Perryton. So it'll be this storm that would be a tornado warning. So we'll just go to the, it's right in the middle of all the radar sites. But anyway, I don't know why that hasn't popped out again. But that's a tornado warning again here for Perryton, which is northwestern Lipscomb and northeastern Ochiltree counties. You're underneath the tornado warning here at the moment. It goes until 8:45. That's that storm right there. And then we'll have the tornado watch coming out there in just a few moments as well. But right now what we're looking at is overall in the modeling is what we were looking at, because we were talking about forecast, what's going to happen into the future here. So there's your line that pops up. And again, at 1 a.m., there's where it is. Middle Kansas all the way down to Oklahoma. Coming into Oklahoma City from the west about 3 o'clock in the morning. Looks like we'll end up having storms into Ponca City, probably into Enid, Oklahoma about that time. And some of these could be producing, spin or a tornado warning or two. Thus, the watch that just popped out. Now, the watch is left in the wake of this way back to the west. Again, the tornado watch that's about to be issued is like way back here. This is such an isolated tornado watch. They rarely do this. It's kind of like that box right there will be the new tornado watch when it does pop up. Let me make sure I've got my tornado watches turned on. And I do. I got the info pretty early, I guess. So then we move along, and all this is linear. So this is going to be ongoing early in the morning across the rest of Oklahoma, all the way down into Fort Worth now. We'll be looking at, 6 a.m. The storm's coming into Fort Worth from the western side and moving along I-35, really north to south. It'll be I-35 all the way up to almost Oklahoma City, then I-40 off to the east, so to Fort Smith into Arkansas. These are going to be some pretty hefty thunderstorms that will be popping off. And one of the things we know for sure is that we have cold air aloft. So what does that mean? That means hail. And some of that hail could be quite large as we move along through the overnight hours tonight and the early part of the day tomorrow, too. We have strong updrafts. It'll keep those hailstones up there for a while. And, eventually we're going to end up with a lot of that stuff. Look at the low pressure here, by the way, in Nebraska at this point. The model has this, really sharp. Let me get rid of all the winter stuff because we're not going to be using that for alert stuff. And if you don't know there's some winter in this by now, then kind of in trouble. In fact, I'll just show you some of the winter precip type stuff here. So some heavier snow. I mean, there could be some decent snow there on the east side of Denver, actually, the I-70 and 76 area there, and some heavy stuff up around Imperial into the North Platte region there too. But there's your low pressure center. You can see it very well just north of Grand Island, and that'll be a continuation going up in this direction as we go through the remainder of the day tomorrow. Down to the south, though, that's when you get back into the big thunderstorms. It'll be popping here through this area. Now we're looking way too far in advance because I want to back this up because here's our critical time. Here's where things get hairy, if you will. Notice by 1 o'clock, and this is the high resolution stuff, so it will show you the shape, the structure of radar, what the radar might look like. So we're actually looking at what the radar might look like tomorrow morning. Let me do something here because I don't think you're seeing what I'm seeing, and I want to make sure that you do. So look here at the top, and you can see the time. If you look at the top of the graphic here, you can see the time right here. This will show you when this is valid for. So tomorrow at noon, Tuesday at noon, that's when the radar should look like this right here. This is the forecast. So two things that you'll notice is, one, that there is a linear situation ongoing here, which would be from our front, the lift from our front. But then there's also this kind of crap. You're starting to see individual cells that will pop up here well in advance of the actual line. Now, these are supercell, single cell, supercell thunderstorms, and these are the ones that will start to rotate. They take on a sort of a kidney bean shape because as you go up with height, the storms are being pushed from a different direction. I'll show you one in just a few moments. I haven't even looked at this, but I know what it's going to look like because I saw it the other day, and it looks very, very similar. So we go up until noontime tomorrow, and that's when we'll start to see. We could have tornado warnings here south of Longview. Some of these will just begin. See this little tadpole-looking thing in Crockett? So this just tells you that the wind is coming in at the surface from the south. But as the storm goes up in elevation, the westerlies will start to pick it up, and that's what's kicking that in that direction. So now we got spin. We have veering, which are the ingredients for having severe thunderstorms and eventually, having tornadoes. So I put this into motion again. That's noontime. We're going to have to do this hour by hour, really, for me to show you what I'm talking about. But remember I was talking about kidney beans? So you start to see them right there near Carthage and Beckville. Now, that's not exactly, we don't know for sure that's exactly where the tornadoes are going to be. But it is a good indication telling me that at least in this part of the atmosphere, there's shear. So it'd be everything that's out in advance of this stuff. So all this looks to have shear, a sheared environment. And so all these individual, they'll all look like they're spinning. They'll all start to look like that during the day, as if they're spinning. So those up there are doing that. And then if I go up to 2 o'clock, now they really start. Look between 1 and 2, and bam! They fire off right there. Now you got, look at how many individual supercells that we have right there at 2 o'clock. It just kind of happened at 2. I mean, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, there's too many really to count. Individual, singular supercell thunderstorms. And when they're far apart like this, they can gather a lot of energy from a lot of acreage here. They're not sharing all that along a line. They're individual. The ones up in Shreveport, that doesn't look pretty. That's 2 o'clock into the afternoon tomorrow, so this could, start happening early afternoon very easily. 3 o'clock. Again, still watching those same areas. That's ugly. This could be ugly. That could be ugly. All this down to the south really has the sheared environment going for it. And the further north you go, the less shearing that there's going to be. So probably less and less likely the further north that you go. We'll pop off tornado warnings. We'll have a tornado warning somewhere in Missouri tomorrow. A couple of tornado warnings. You can't really say that there are none. So still kind of looking for all of that basically there. And then we go hour by hour. We go another hour further. 4 p.m. Now we're starting to see some more of these things coming in off of the Gulf of Mexico. These will be water spouts and then coming on shore as tornadoes. And all of this stuff is rotating. Every bit of this is rotating now. And so when you talk about the last event and this event, that's what's similar to me is we picked up the rotation in radar very early in the day. And the high-res radar did the same thing. So now I think right there is our peak. 4 to 5 is probably our peak. And then as it goes eastward like this, now we're starting at 6 p.m. We're losing our daylight, which has a little bit to do with this, I think, this time around. As we lose daylight, we'll probably lose some of the intensity here because the heating of the day is going to be important for this event to take place as an enhanced risk, I think. So we move on along through the night. Now we're looking at Little Rock, going through Little Rock. I didn't mean to leave anybody out to the north. I'll even back this up a little bit, but I was just kind of covering the severe. So coming through Norman at 4 a.m., through Tulsa at 6 and 7, through Dallas between, say, 5 and 7 in the morning. 10 a.m., still got the Dallas storms there, but through eastern Texas at about 1 or 2, but coming into Shreveport about that same time, and then headed on to the east, so over to Lafayette, into Hattiesburg. We'll start to see some storms then. Now we're getting into 10, 11 o'clock, and now it's a little bit more clustered. See what I mean? Now we're not looking at too many individual. There's a Lake Charles individual storm there, so there'll still be some. But as we lose the heating of the day, we'll probably see this line up just a little bit more. There'll be some strong thunderstorms up into Memphis, into Jonesboro, Arkansas. Like I said, no doubt there'll be some kind of a tornado warning or two as far north, I think, as western Kentucky. But the predominance of them would be down to the south. Then we get at 11 o'clock, still a little bit more linear at this point, and into the 2, 3, 4. Now, here's the problem. Here's one of our other problems, is that about this time, let's see. Yeah, about right here, you'll start to see a wave of energy, a low pressure, that'll be down in here. That's a horrible color for it because you can't see it. There'll be low pressure down here, and it will start to move up the line. The low pressure will. Well, what that's going to do is buckle this thing back to the west. So we'll actually, instead of seeing this stuff off to the north, keep traveling to the east. It's going to buckle backward a little bit, which means much slower progress on the northern end of this and heavy rainfall. Again, in areas that have had a ton of rain, so we don't really need a whole lot of that at this point. So pretty much what we're looking at here is, and I'll just put it in motion to show you what I'm talking about. It buckles. That northern part doesn't move a lot. You got 6 hours there, and there's still a ton of moisture there. And then finally the front begins to show up. This is the front back into Arkansas right here. And this is where I'm going to throw the dew points on here real quick because I'll show you. That's where your front is. Right here. And this is your warm front. We call this right here a triple point area, where the the occlusion goes into a warm front. So this triple point area is always of great concern there and down to the south and to the east of there. And if you look at these dew points, These are in the upper 60s to near 70 degrees. They are in the 70-degree range down to the south along the Gulf Coast. We got 70-degree dew points that'll be down there for the entirety of this event. And then back to the radar again, just to show you. I want to continue with that because we were moving along with it there. So here we go again. There's the front back to the west. There won't be severe weather with the front, with the lift from the front. But now we're back into the early part of the day on Wednesday with broken showers again. And it's at this point that we still have that that risk. What did I just do? It is a slight risk that runs the length of the Gulf at this point. So here's like noon on Wednesday. And just as a reminder, that's where the risk is at noon. I have to use like a winter product for you to see it. That's where the risk is again for the day on Wednesday. So it's a slight risk that runs all the way up to Hattiesburg and beyond. And really, it follows I-20 out of Shreveport over to Jackson and then cuts off and it kind of slants down here. But this is all a slight risk. Hattiesburg throughout the rest of this area there. Damaging winds. A few tornadoes are still possible. This is kind of a to-be-determined area, I think. Now, two things that I wanted to point out here, too, that are really, really important, especially when it comes to the rest of the southeastern United States, because people often ask me, why am I, not including the rest of the southeast? Well, it's not that I don't like you. It's just that you're never really in the same sort of situation as the rest of the area. Here's the dew points that are coming up. Brand new tornado warning. It's a continuation of the other tornado, but it's just up into Oklahoma here. So here's our dew points. And a couple of things that you see here, and let me just point this out because this is very prominent this time around. It was the last time, too. You notice over Georgia that the dew points are low, like even into the 30s over Atlanta. The dew points are super low here. And they come out over here, and you go into the 70s here pretty quick over into Jackson, the dew points, and you can just see where it is. It's a Christmas tree. It makes a Christmas tree right here. Well, here's why. Here's the reason for that. And it happens sometimes. It doesn't happen a lot. But we have high pressure right here. Big dome of high pressure that's sitting over the northeastern United States, that high right there. Well, the winds go, clockwise around a high pressure like this. And you got the mountains here, the Appalachians that are sitting right there. So cold air is very shallow. It's down to the surface. Cold air doesn't extend very high above the ground when you have a high pressure center. So the cold air is relegated to about the lower 2,000 feet, if you will. Well, the mountains are higher than that. So the cold air is sitting here, and those dew points are super low over here. Into the brown area, you can see the dew points that we're talking about. And if I drew the isotherm here, like the 40-degree dew point isotherm, kind of looks like this, where we have 40-degree dew points. And then you Christmas tree out over here to like 60s and 70s. Well, here's why. The high pressure to the north is responsible for cold air drainage, which comes down the eastern side of the Appalachians. It doesn't go to the west over to Tennessee because it can't make it over the mountains. So the cool air stays on the east side, and the high pressure drives that cold, cool, dry air all the way down through Atlanta, all the way down to, in this case, you can see the nose of it goes over to Alabama. It is a stabilizing situation here to where the high pressure to the north brings in the easterly wind and stabilizes all this air over here. I've seen it go all the way over to Birmingham, and typically it's a cruddy day maker. When you get a wedge like that, it causes cloud cover and the rest. It's not a pretty sight to deal with. So there's our dew points, and I gotta finish the composite. I'm talking about so many different things. I apologize, but here's the radar composite as we go into the day on Wednesday. This is Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. All of this mess is still here because it buckled. Remember, low pressure working its way up the line, and until it goes by, you won't see a westward progression. And look how long this rain sits in here again in areas where Had a ton of it already, and there's just going to be more. Total precip here is going to be high again. This isn't for the entire period, but look, we got some totals here that go into the 4 and 5 inch range again across central Mississippi, just to the east of I-55, over to Starkville, into Columbus, Lowndes County. We had that tornado warning over there in Columbus, or down to the south here, 4 or 5 inch totals in Hattiesburg, and this area too. These are estimations from the radar, and that's not for the entirety of the event. That goes until 6 p.m. on Wednesday. Let me see if the NAM, if I can just jerk the NAM in here real quick. 32 hours. Let's see. Again, high res. I love the 3K NAM because it is high res and it's pretty good looking. It doesn't go far enough though. Let me use the 12K. And I'll do it like this. Oh, it didn't go any further than that. My apologies. Anyway, it's going to be a big-time rain event again for the southeastern United States. It's definitely not going to be good news there overall because it's going to stick around for a while. Let's go back to the radar here quickly and talk a little bit more about this tornado warning. Still, there is a tornado warning in effect. Brand new one, actually, this one is. And they went with a long time here. Eastern Beaver County in the panhandle of Oklahoma. You folks in Beaver, goes until 9:30 tonight. Severe thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado near Elmwood, about 14 miles to the southeast of Beaver. And it's moving to the northeast at about 40. Quarter-size hail being reported here, but there are estimations of getting up to ping-pong ball-sized hail as we go along through the nighttime tonight and the early part of the day tomorrow as well. And definitely, all of this has to be watched closely. Your tornado, if you will, is going to be right there, right along US 270, it looks like, and going northeastward across the northern part of the county. There's still a severe thunderstorm watch that's in effect here as well that we'll be looking at. And, the where did it go? Oh, boy, that's hard to see. Let me do this so I can show it to you a little bit better. There's the tornado watch. So again, very few counties, as we were talking about. This is a short-term kind of a watch deal. They did this and they thought, we can update this pretty quickly. A couple of tornadoes possible, damaging winds 70 miles per hour possible, large hail, 1.5 inches in diameter, and increasing in intensity through the late evening. Additional thunderstorms developing southward along a surging cold front, and the tornado watch is going to go until 1 a.m. Central Time. So brand new tornado watch that's out there that covers 3 counties up into Oklahoma and several counties on the eastern side of Texas as well. So pretty much looking at all that. J.P. Bass Sr. I don't see anything about Bob Ross. I love Bob Ross. Somebody did a Halloween deal, and they were Bob Ross, and it was really good. And if you don't know who Bob Ross is, just Google him. He's a legend. Not the best painter in the world, but the best communicator when it comes to, in a very nice, even keel voice when he talked to you. And he says, this might look better if you put a little bit of purple. Put some purple in there. And it always did. It looked better if you put a little purple in it. Bob Ross. Yeah, and if I don't mention your area, it is good. But if you'll yell out your well, not really yell, but tell me what you're looking for if you want to talk about it. If you have your town that you want to talk about, the entirety. I'll tell you what. Let me just put the. I'm gonna go back to the model here really quick and let you see the whole U.S. of A. And I want to use, I'll just use 12K, I guess. And I'll show you the whole U.S. overall. This is radar depiction. The time is still up here at the top, 7 p.m., so it's kind of including right now. They just issued another tornado warning. So I think this severe thunderstorm warning over in Perryton is about to be a tornado warning. This thing right there is about to be a tornado warning. So we'll have 2 tornado warnings there, I think, in the next 60 seconds. We'll look at that in just a couple of seconds, but I'm digressing. So let me show you. If we go through it, we'll go into midnight tonight. That's what the radar should look like, midnight tonight. So rain over Sioux Falls. It's probably not rain up there, though. Precipitation type. Mixes over Sioux Falls. You got snow falling down there into the Rockies. And you got the rain to the east. The big low pressure center then winds up, big comma shape. You don't have to be a scientist or a meteorologist to know where the low pressure is at this point. It is right here. And then the front occludes, theoretically, this is supposed to be in purple. That is an occlusion, which means the cold front's outrunning the warm front at this stage. And then you have the occlusion that then goes southward. We go back into a cold front right in here, down to the south, and then we're going to have a triple point area where the warm front extends kind of like this as we go through the day, and so that makes the critical area down here to the south. So if you're looking at this, you want to see where your stuff is. You got snow into the west, western Nebraska, all of south and North Dakota. That's a pretty big snow event that'll be ongoing there, and the rest of the region there will all be rainfall. That's kind of teasing me there a little bit. So they did issue a tornado warning here for this county, as we were kind of thinking there a little bit earlier. And this is going to be in effect. Change radar sites again. Once again, I'm using Radar Omega because I like it. There's a lot of information here. In all my years of doing the weather, many years of doing the weather, if I'd have had this app 20 years ago, I would have been able to use almost everything here because it has great satellite data. I'll show you some of the satellite data here in just a couple of minutes too. But right now, the 2 tornado warnings that we presently have, one just south of 64, US 64, that is a tornado warning, and that's going to last, and both of them show up pretty well. I mean, you've got obviously, this is velocity data, so there's your tornado there. This one is down in here, somewhere right there. I don't see it that well on the radar. But, 2 likely tornadoes that are occurring here. One to the west of Perryton, and another one that you can see up here just a little bit further. 428 people are in this county, that one county there in the panhandle of Oklahoma. So it's not a huge population center, but that doesn't really matter to us. Beaver County still underneath the tornado warning here too, with large hail being very likely here. A couple of products that we use, and during the day tomorrow we're going to be talking a lot about these products, and there's a bunch of them here. I mean, if you go to each radar site, I'm looking at Dodge City DDC at the moment. That's Dodge City, Kansas, the radar there. I'm watching that at the moment, and so all these radar sites, this is the menu over here on the right-hand side. If you click right here on the, oh, you can't see it over there. I got to figure out how to get that whole thing in here. Anyway, all of these are products that go along with each of the Doppler radar sites. And I don't use them all because if you use them all, they get kind of confusing. I use a high reflectivity there, high res. There's a little hook echo, if you will, right there on the bottom side of this one. You can see it right there, and a little dry slot coming in near Clear Lake on the western side, so there's likely a tornado there. A couple of things about this storm too that tell me a lot just from seeing what I see right now, and without actually having I'm not sure. You have reflectivity here, and then within the line you got base reflectivity, which is just a crummier version of it, but it goes out 250 miles. That one does. You got winter weather radar, which would show you if you had any frozen precipitation on here. Like if I go over to Denver, there's your snow, what snow looks like there. And I don't know, Dodge City might be better. Winter weather radar. Then you got high-res velocity data, which would show a spin, and does show a spin here at the moment. You can see there's quite a bit of it right here. The rotation there. You got 2 colors that are the brighter colors showing inbound and an outbound, and to the radar site. So there's the likelihood of a tornado right in that area there. You have SRV, you have high-res spectrum width. I don't use any of this stuff. Correlation coefficient. We use this product when we're looking for some kind of debris. And we'll be using it a lot during the day tomorrow. The correlation coefficient is really just a debris signature product. It shows you the anomaly of what is happening inside of a storm, where most of the time, like reflectivity, is just showing you rainfall. Well, this shows you rainfall plus anything different. So when I look at this, the color table is such that, like right now, when I look at this, I see rain. All this crap stuff over here is rain. It's all the same color, shape, everything. Nothing's different about it until you get to that. You see that right there? Now we got an anomaly in the middle of all of that. So you look at it and you go, okay, so what's the deal there? Well, this is something. It's not stationary. You can see it moves. And then we get a little bit more debris, clutter that comes with it. There's something going on up here near Beaver. It was only one scan, so you throw that out, really. But I think this is debris. I think this is actually something was hit. And now there's debris aloft showing up within this storm. This is the very last radar image. So this is a debris signature that is showing up right now on the high-res correlation coefficient. And so do they have a radar indicated? 3,000 capable of producing. Most of the time they'll tell you if it was observed or whatever the case may be, but that's a true signature there. This is kind of, I don't know, that could be hail there in that situation. But I think that's real. I think we're going to hear something about that being an actual tornado in just a few minutes. So we'll kind of be watching that here shortly. You know, and again, two areas that we weren't really expecting a whole lot out of tonight. Weren't expecting there to be, I don't know, I wasn't expecting 2 tornado warnings out of the blue and 1 severe thunderstorm warning. In fact, when they started talking about a watch a little while ago, I thought, is it going to be a severe thunderstorm watch? Is it going to be a hail thing? But it's a legitimate tornado threat tonight. Obviously, there's enough spin right here in this area for there to be tornadoes. I find it a little odd, maybe, I don't know, do you, that they issued a watch. They issued a tornado watch for 245 more minutes. So several more hours till 1 a.m., I think. Till 1 a.m. They issued that, and the 2 tornado warnings are almost out of the box already. They're almost out of the tornado watch box. I'm a little surprised they didn't push that along because it's 9 o'clock now. 10, 11, 12. 4 more hours. This thing's going to be over. This tornado right now at the moment is going to be over here in an hour. A little odd. A little odd call there. Velocity is still showing there's an inbound and an outbound marker there. Now, we're pretty high up. We're out at the 70-mile range on the DDC radar, Amarillo. It's really out of range there, but very distinctive inbound and outbound here as well. Both of them, it shows up. Is there a debris signature? See, there's still a debris signature here out of Amarillo. This is going to be hail. Very likely that's going to be a hail spike there. But this is a debris signature. Shows up on both the radars. Correlation coefficient on both of them on either side. So I fear that's been on the ground. Let me see if I put it in motion just a little bit here. Yeah, see, it moves. The debris signature moved. If it were still there, I'd say it's something else, but wild stuff, as they say. A lot of lightning there. A lot of times, one of the indicators to having tornado genesis would be the genesis of new lightning, especially in a tightly packed area like this. So, you're kind of looking at that as well. And let's do this one more time. Two big cells. They're two big, large cells. I'm sure you can see them from a distance, a long way off. Special weather statement up here too, and I think this is going to be hail. Gusty winds could knock down tree limbs and blow around unsecured objects. Cats, dogs, tie them all down. Minor damage to outdoor objects is possible. I don't know about that. Pea-size hail gusts 50 to 55 off to the north there out of all that stuff. So we're really pulling in some southerly winds now. With this whole thing. Front's still back here into Colorado, but moving on to the east. Eventually, it'll pull on out and move on to the east and dive southward. We got a jet that's going to be kicking down to the south, too. We know that'll be the case as we move along over the next several hours as well. Let's just go to look at some satellite imagery here. And you know why? Because we can. And it's pretty good stuff here. Long wave IR, infrared, showing you colder cloud tops. The brighter red colors are the indicative of cold cloud tops. In this case, we're talking 70 degrees, negative 70 or so, when you get up here in the really brightly colored stuff. Well, the comma head of this is becoming more and more pronounced. I can go back about 50 frames, put this into motion for you to show you as it pulls out of the Rockies. It's got the jitters there for a minute or two. But what about chicklins? Chris, we already had the chicklins, dude. There's no outbreak tonight, so don't start. It'll get you kicked off of here. There's no outbreak tonight. Yeah, if you want to get kicked off of my site, just start giving your own forecast. Which gets confusing for everybody. You either want to, you'll analyze this with me, but don't give your own forecast. We went through this the last time, and it's really irritating when everybody starts doing that. So please hold your fire. So that's the long wave. Now the low level, this is water vapor. The dry air's into the orange that you see. That's our dry air slots. Now you see some of the moisture being kicked up. Now we're going to energize this whole thing with the upper level low that's coming in out of the west. You can see it over Arizona. That's the thing we were looking at coming in on the west coast a little bit earlier. That'll be energized during the day tomorrow. But already tonight we got energy out of this coming into Dodge City. And here you can see the low beginning to take shape right about there. Low kicks up, moves out like that pretty quickly through the night tonight and the day tomorrow. Beaver County in Oklahoma till 9:30. Beaver County tornado warning. Two counties there on the western side of Oklahoma. Yeah, I can't get Penny tonight. She's pissed. I left Penny outside in the rain the other night, and she was pissed. She was pissed. Not for the whole night. I mean, like for a couple of hours I left her, and it didn't go well at all. Here's what Bourbon Street looks like tonight. It's kind of quiet. 66 degrees on Bourbon Street tonight. Not bad. But there's about to be some really cool stuff that'll be happening there. Some cooler weather, not cool as in Let's see, how do I do this and not blow everybody's ears out? So this is what Penny looks like when I forget to bring her in, and it was not a pretty sight. Let's see. So she was outside during a thunderstorm, and I had thought about her, but I thought about her late. So I brought her in, gave her a little pat down, tried to use a blow dryer, but she didn't care for that either. So I didn't get to use a blow dryer, but I dried her off pretty quick. If you don't know, this is Penny. This is my chicken. Josh, she was pissed. So then I had to pet her down. I gave her some ice cream, and then I rocked her for a little bit, and she was cool. After that, we made up. As long as you hold her like this and you rub her belly in circles, you just kind of rub her, and she likes that a lot. So I'm not bringing Penny out tonight. I'm sorry. But I may bring her out tomorrow at some point. Or bring her on. I have to squeeze her real tight, though, to make sure that she's done with her business when I do. All right. So here again is our tornado warnings. We have a brand new tornado warning. They pushed that up just a little bit further. They pushed that up right to the edge of where the watch is. So I don't know. They're just going to have to issue another watch, I suppose. Unless they think that's the last tornado warning. I don't know. You know, those people over there, they have tough calls. But I'm not really sure that... I think I'd have started over in Perryton and not the counties to the west if I just wanted to make it that small. I don't know. What do you think? All right. Any questions? Do we have questions? She should meet Rusty. Moore's not going to get hit again, is it? Dylan, you know, there's no reason for Moore to get hit. You're talking about Oklahoma, I assume. I don't know if you caught us when we were doing our forecasting over there, but stuff's coming through Oklahoma City early in the morning, tomorrow morning. But it doesn't look like it's going to be that variety of long-term tornado warnings. I mean, we've seen them already tonight, so we know there's reason to believe there'll be additional tornadoes through the night tonight, I think. I don't think this is the last two. I'm sorry, but I got nothing to say about the watch area, really, other than I don't think it's over with after these two go out. I think they're going to have to do something about this watch because it's really just now kind of firing up here. So it's a tiny bit odd to me that they didn't add some other counties east of there just to make up for. They're going to have to because we're about to have quite a few counties, I think, end up with tornado warnings. This is already on the very far northern edge of our tornado watch. So, again, I don't make those calls. I just kind of look at them and figure out what's going on here. Two very distinctive supercell thunderstorms there. If you're off into the distance and looking at those, they have to be unbelievable in size, and a lot of lightning's going on there, so I'm sure they're looking at that. We already know that we've had a little bit of a correlation coefficient show up with the one up here near Beaver. See what's happening here. See, it kind of, the correlation coefficient was showing you debris there when it was back into the polygon. I think this is some sort of debris as well, and it may have come off of this other storm. The things, I guess if there's anything that, I admit I don't know everything. I've been doing this a long, long time, and I've seen a lot of stuff. But the correlation coefficient is a fairly new product. It's been out for a while, but we didn't really use it that much. The color tables were not very good for a long time there. And in reality, though, now the correlation coefficient data is better than human, somebody calling me and saying, I saw a tornado on the ground. I'd rather believe it from the correlation coefficient than I would just by getting a phone call, because it doesn't lie. Something's going on. And right here and now, there's something, the anomaly is there, and maybe right here. And it may be coming off of this storm down to the south. See, something was going on there, because now it's gone, or it's not as prevalent as it was. So the thing is, if there is a tornado down here, if that is a tornado that's on the ground, well, think about it. If you just stop and think about it for a second, the debris isn't just going to sit right there with the tornado. The one thing that we do know just from looking at the radar imagery here is that the upper level wind is definitely blowing in this direction, right? I mean, you can see it. That's where everything, when the storms go up, they're being blown off in this direction, off to the northeast. So we know that the wind aloft is coming in, from the southwest like this and blowing in that direction. So the likelihood of this being a tornado down here and then debris being as far north as Beaver up in here is possible. It makes common sense to me. I've seen debris go from hundreds of miles. I've seen debris. Tornado in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I talk about this all the time, but it's one I know for sure happened. Tuscaloosa that hit in 2011. There was a drugstore hit there, and they found prescriptions 120 miles away in Gadsden, Alabama. Inside of the fence at the Goodyear Tire and Rubber plant, they found prescriptions from that drugstore that was hit in Tuscaloosa. So, the tornado wasn't the same tornado. It was once the piece of paper became aloft and started traveling aloft, well, they can go quite a ways when they get up into the upper flow. And it was pretty easy to see that was what was going on here. Two other things I wanted to point out, and I didn't do so. But let me show you this. Where's my radar? Let me see if I can go Dodge City and have a better perspective. I saw it a little bit earlier, and I wanted to point this out for you. If you have Radar Omega, there's some stuff I can show you on Radar Omega here as we go along that I'd love to show you, and I'd love for you to ask questions about it. Here's a cell. Here's a single cell. It's already got the look. It's got a little nodule down here on the bottom side of it, but it's already got the look of a supercell. But the other part of this that you can see, do you see this V on the back side of that there? So what is happening here is, again, we know the upper level wind aloft, when this gets up there into the upper level winds, that it's coming in from the southwest, the upper level wind, because all the blow off is going in that direction. Well, so we have a tornado down in here very likely, and then see the purple? That's hail. That purple area right there is hail. Right there. So the winds are coming in from the southwest. And they get to this hail shaft that's way up into the atmosphere now. The upper level winds, the surface winds are causing the ascension of these hailstones. They go up, they come back down, they go up, they come back down. Well, when the hailstones are up there at a certain height and they reach this wind aloft here, they can't go through the hailstones. The wind can't. So the wind goes around the hailstones. And when it does that, it creates... Oh, that's terrible, Dave. Let me back this up a little bit further, because I just blew out of the image I wanted to show you. Yeah. So it goes out and creates this V-notch. V-notch, bunny ears, flying eagle, often referred to as a flying eagle, is created here. Hail shaft right here, and the wind has to go around the hail shaft. The upper level wind does, around the hail shaft, which then creates low pressure on both sides and causes the air to come back in on the back side of it right there and creates that little V-notch, if you will, right there. So right off the bat, just from the radar, not knowing anything else about it, just from the radar, I know that it's a mature storm. It's really high up into the atmosphere. It's high enough to where we're diverting the wind around a certain point. The upper level wind has to go that way, and then we create these two low pressures. And if you want to geek out a little bit more, the next time you're near a creek or a stream, watch what happens if there's a rock out in the middle. Watch the water go around that rock. It's the same principle. It creates the same principle around the back side of the rock, downstream. Two low pressure centers are created on both sides, and the water comes back in, rushes back in an eddy on the back side. It's the same principle. The atmosphere, she's a liquid, and that's why we had to take so many liquid physics, dynamics courses when you're into meteorology. Excuse me, I thought it was going to be all about, hey, David, what kind of cloud is that? And they were like, how much does that cloud weigh? And what is the precipitable water possibility for that cloud? It is not as simple as tell me that if that's a cumulus cloud or not. So see, they've already got warnings outside. I'm not trying to be but they've already got warnings outside of this box. Within an hour of issuing it, it's not a tornado warning. But the second that cell goes over there, it would be, it could be, it should be. All right, how about a question? Brandon? Why are you watching all the other weather networks? No, I got you, dude. I appreciate that. I don't always go on the air for one myself, but I was planning on being on tonight anyway because they were talking more and more like there could be a watch tonight. So anytime there's a watch, if I'm not on, something's wrong. I have really bad gas or something because I'm typically on if there's a tornado watch. Tomorrow, I don't know. I can't really imagine in my head what time, if we have a continuation of tornado watches through the night tonight, or if they go away and then tomorrow they reissue a tornado watch. It could be the way it all happens. What are they saying about this? Or I'll tell you what I'd like to read is the meso discussion. So here's what you do if you want to see the meso discussion. You go to the severe weather tab right there. You choose meso, and I hit on, and that'll be this box, this blue box right here. So I click on the box, and it says 2003 is the last meso discussion that we had. By meso discussion, this is just where they take a specific area that the weather is changing in, and especially if it has some severe potential with it, and they give you a little information about what they're thinking, which helps us out with being prepared in advance. So what they are thinking, this was 7/12, so it's been 2 hours ago when they first started talking about the possible tornado watch. And again, they gave it a 60% chance for a tornado watch. But what they were thinking is that a tornado threat is also expected to develop later this evening. Well, as they wrote that, there was a tornado warning being issued. Weather watch issuance may be needed once cells begin to increase in coverage, especially after 9 p.m. The latest surface analysis shows a 995 low in central Colorado. We saw that, with a surface trough extending southward across southeastern Colorado into eastern New Mexico. A moist air mass from northwestern Texas into eastern Texas, where surface dew points are generally into the 50s, but a dry line was located across central Texas. And to the east of the dry line, a narrow corridor of Cape values, 250 to 750 joules per kilogram, is analyzed by the RAP. Cells ongoing and insensibility have shown a gradual intensification trend over the last hour. We're in the eastern side of the exit region is on the mid-level jet, overspreads the southern high plains over the next few hours, increasing the ascent and cooling temperatures aloft. We talked about those cold temperatures aloft were showing up on the satellite image. So all the ingredients are here. Shear values are here. 60 knots, Dodge City. Severe threat, instability increases. Supercells with isolated hail. But as sales increase in coverage and low-level jet strengthens, an isolated tornado threat is also expected. And I think we've had more tornado warnings than severe thunderstorm warnings. And bless it, they're all about to go out of the tornado watch. So they're either going to have to come out with a new tornado watch for Kansas, I guess. I don't know. Just so you know, I can't hang all night with you the next few nights due to work. Josh. There's a new one that isn't on Radar Mega just yet. I paced a lot before bad days. Yes, that was a CC drop. Wow, I'm sorry. I didn't see all these. Can you explain the radar return northeast of Dodge City? We'll look at that in just a moment, Brandon. Yes, that was a CC drop that we saw. And again, most of the time, you can't look at one frame of a CC. You can't look at one because sometimes there's just stupid stuff that shows up. It's a throw-out frame. You have to put them into motion to see if that thing is moving. And if it's dimming, if it's brightening, and just keep thinking. You just have to use common sense. What would it look like if I actually were there and I saw it? Would it look like this is an object that's up in the air? Is it a bunch of leaves piled up? Probably not there. I don't think there's a lot of trees there. But it kind of looks pretty much that way. Ignore my question, David. It was a bad scan on radar scope. Okay. West of Lubbock. How far west? Ooh, yeah. See, now that just happened, didn't it? I mean, that just happened. What? Just like, but we looked at the model, and the model said it was going to happen. That happened in less than, is it 45? When was this? 49? So truthfully, about 20 minutes ago. Thank you for telling me that because I wasn't going over to Lubbock just yet. But there it is. Boom. And that happened fast. Listen, there's some cold air. The jet is involved now, and there's some really cold air aloft. This is happening so fast. And the other way you can just look at it and see is there's already shear into the upper levels. Notice the direction that the precipitation is going in. Let me stop this. But notice, see how it's streaky through here? There's a strong wind aloft out of the west that's already occurring up in here. That and the surface boundary that's ongoing. Now, this is a super thin line. What's going on with, let's see. Thank you for telling me about that, because I did not see that. Let's see what our dew points are doing here with the METAR data. So we got dew points. It's chilly. I mean, the dew points are into the 40s here. 23 to the north. Clovis, New Mexico, 27 is the dew point. Now, you're into the 60s off to the east of there. See, these dew points are pretty low. You can't always go by dew points. Not when you've got dynamically things aloft that are changing everything. So they just issued a new meso. Did you see that? That was the blue thing that just popped up. So now, and I'm not going to gripe about it, but it's out of the watch box. So this is a brand new meso discussion. Now they're saying a watch is likely. There's a 95% chance now of a watch out of the watch box that they issued just a little while ago. It just didn't make sense, did it? I've been sitting here harping about it, but it didn't make sense to only issue the one. when everything was almost already out of that box. So they're going to issue a new tornado watch, and it's going to cover severe threat expected to develop over the next few hours from southern Kansas southward across western Oklahoma into northwestern Texas. Large hail, damaging wind, isolated tornado threat with a few of the intense cells. Convective coverage has started to steadily increase across the northern plains, partly due to moisture advection and partly due to cooling aloft. We knew that too, and we'll look at some of the satellite data here in just a few minutes, and see. I'll stay on here as long as you want. I see there's about 200 of you watching, so we'll do this together. Wow. See, now it makes me think I shouldn't really be on single sites. I need to be on the composite radar to show everything, at least in the short term. This is a meso discussion, too, that is probably about snow. Snow squall conditions across the I-25 corridor and Raton Mesa over the next couple of hours. Near Trinidad, that's where that's at, on I-25. Now we're getting quite a few tornado warnings, too. This is a brand new tornado warning. This one's going to include a little bit further to the north here, too. Bless their hearts. I wish they'd have just gone ahead and it just didn't make common sense for everything to stay in that box till 1 a.m. And let's talk about this a little bit more, too. So we got these thunderstorms coming into Plainview. Again, this doesn't look like it's going to be a big, severe deal right here, at least not into the short term. We got 58 over 52. So it's 58 degrees at Lubbock at the airport there, 58 over 52. I went to Texas Tech. I've only been there one time before. I went to Texas Tech because they had a cannon. They called it the tornado cannon. Anyway, I went there for a week and did some study with them on structurally what it takes to ruin a home, what it takes for debris to get inside your house. And they had this 6-inch tube pipe that they would pressurize, pump up with air pressure, and then they could send a 4x4 piece of wood through the tube and shoot it at a structure. And so, I mean, they put up cinder block and stuff and shoot this 4x4 or 2x4, whatever it was, and see what held up within the cinder block, within, what your basement might look like or whatever. And I was there in Lubbock for that. And that's the only time I've ever been there, though. Was to go do that little study there at Texas Tech. None of this is spinning. There's a little bit of spin right there. This is out of the Amarillo office. A little spin right there. But all the spinning right now is really up to the north. You can clearly see it spinning right here. 412. That has 37 people in that entire polygon. Not a highly populated area right here into the panhandle of Oklahoma. Yeah, I see a couple of areas here that are spinning right there. One right there. We had a debris signature there just a little while ago. We had a couple of them that were showing up. See, here's another one. Here's another debris signature of some sort. It's tad scattered. Now you got really scattered debris near Gate and the rest of this area. They're still seeing radar indicated tornado with that. And then a severe thunderstorm warning that goes on across the border there over to Ashland, just south of Mineola there too. But this is a very distinct supercell thunderstorm. Large hail. We have another product. One of the other products that we'll be looking at from time to time is called VIL, Vertically Integrated Liquid. And this tells us about the density of the target, which, if you think about it, ice is going to be the most dense. It's weather-related. And so we should see, just north of Gate there, in the purple areas, that should be a blow-up of many colors, a very bright sort of a situation when I hit this button. Which would tell us that we have hail. And I think it's going to look something like this when I hit this button. Let's see. VIL. So this is going to be the large hail right there. Super large hail right there. But all of this is hail. This is our hail product, VIL. So we'll be looking at that in time as we move along during the day tomorrow as well. And still have quite a bit of spin going on here in a few locations too that we'll be looking at also. I won't go back to the local radar because I do get higher resolution that way. This is the composite that we're looking at. And I'm going to get rid of some of these backgrounds too because I don't really need them. I know kind of what we're looking for. I'm going to get rid of the mezzo discussions. I'll watch over here, and if one pops up, I'll get back on it again. Once again, what we are expecting is a new tornado watch, and I think it's going to have to go something like, I would think at least like this. And could even be a little further down to the south. I don't know. But this one to the west was supposed to go till 1 a.m., and it's already almost obsolete. But here's your line. Here's the dry line. This is where you've got dew points into the 20s in Elkhart and into the 50s down to the south here. So there's a huge line. Right here is your front, or your dew point front anyway. That's pretty amazing. So that's part of your lift that's occurring there is because of that. You see Plainview, we got a dew point of 49, but Hereford, we got 23. So the moisture's trying its best to sneak on northward, but it's just out ahead of the cold front here at the moment. I'm going to go back here and check this. Let me see two other things. Our wind direction, pretty key as well, and just easy to see what's happening here. Our winds at the surface are coming in due south. See these arrows? It's a southerly wind down at the surface. But aloft, it's coming in a little bit more like this. And that's our spin. That's what's helping to start everything back over here across the rest of that area there too. And there's your new tornado watch. Are you serious? I don't know why they're so afraid to issue these counties. So they added a few more. They added some more counties upstream that would include not Dodge City. So they don't believe in any of this being tornadic down to the south here. They did just issue a special weather statement that does include Lubbock. That's going to be Brownfield, southwest of Brownfield, and Spade. A line of thunderstorms, strong thunderstorms, 50 to 55 mile per hour winds that will be coming in with that as it goes eastward here in the next few moments. So we'll be looking out for that. We got 54 over 49. It's just, well, what was that? Winds at 17. So we got some gusty winds there. Here's 15 gusting out to 18. And Lubbock presently has 18 with a gust to 30. And it's from the south. With 58 over 52 at the moment. Visibility's down there a bit. But that's the new line that just popped up. Thank you so much. I don't know who sent that out, but thank you so much for doing that. No, again, dynamically speaking here, we got strong winds. We're overcoming these dew points. That's not why we didn't need the dew points really for anything other than moisture. You can see the moisture is limited. It's not like we have a ton of moisture there. That's why we got the thin line that's coming out. But because of the vicinity of low pressure back to the northwest and these southerly winds down here, we're coming into a congruent area of opposing winds, and so I'm not really that surprised that there are tornado warnings here with the high definition of both extremes, having the winds aloft that are varying and what's going on at the surface. It's limited. I don't expect there to be tornadoes all over the place, and that's why I was saying don't get, all too bent out of shape about this everywhere, because it's not like Moore's going to have one. It's not like everybody's about to get in on tornado warnings here. It's two cells at the moment. There's a third. See these two down here south of Perryton? Let's see what happens with those. Are they about to blossom? Were they there a few moments ago? I don't know. Let's see. See, they're new. Those are 2 new cells right there. They're just now beginning to pop up. It'd be really interesting to see if intensity-wise they keep going, especially when they get on up here a little bit further to the north. Do these 2 cells become tornadic again just because right here's a hot zone for sure. And we, had the 2 cells out there. By the way, this is a huge DBZ coming back here to the radar. So if we go and we look at our hail product, that's going to be a big area right there. Yeah. Now it's a little bit behind the reflectivity. The time on that was 9:23, and the reflectivity's 31. So it's almost 10 minutes difference. That's why it's behind. The VIL is going to be behind, but that's large hail. Indicative. This is normally like golf ball size. It varies. These are in kilograms per meter squared. I know it doesn't tell you anything, but 80 is a high number. And both of those, again, those are our 2 hail makers here at the moment. It's just 2 cells that are, big-time hail makers. And also producing, possible tornadoes. Yeah, that one's spinning. As we look at it, correlation coefficient, obviously something's going on there. See these lightning strikes? There's 5 of them there in a small area. There's like 5 lightning strikes. Sometimes that's the genesis. That points to tornado genesis, the beginning, initialization of a tornado, when you get very tightly packed lightning strikes like that. Oftentimes we'll look at that and see it as an uptick, an upswing. And now if you just look at it, the our wind in and out, there's a 93, negative 93. Your positive numbers over here, they're not quite like they were, but there's definitely some net shear there that is pretty high. That's getting on. We just have to go with DDC there, I think. So your tornado, it's kind of broad. See the pixel to pixel stuff? It's not like gate to gate, pixel to pixel. There are pixels in between here. Like right there, you got a gap. This stuff right here is blowing, but then you got a gap. And if there's a tornado, it's probably going to be like right in there, I would think. And you got your lightning and your hails just off to the north of that there too. My car may be sad in the morning. Well, I hate that. Okay. Yeah, let's do this. I haven't added storm reports here. Let's see. I'm going to do an hour's worth. This is another product here from a hail report, spotter hail report in Beaver County. We had a hail report there and this is the hardest thing for me to say, of everything. I can't say we now return you to your regularly scheduled program without sounding like Daffy Duck sometimes. And ping pong ball sized hail is the hardest thing for me to say. But estimated ping pong ball to tennis ball size hail while viewing through a window while sheltered in place from a train spotter in Beaver County, 2.5 inches. So this was at 9:16, like 20 minutes ago, and that's what we were seeing from our hail product. So thank you, Josh. I didn't think about looking into that. Forecast for Indiana, big state, but I'll do the best I can. We'll just look at reflectivity here and talk about, because so the stuff comes in like precip comes in for you into western Indiana around 2 a.m. after midnight tomorrow night. So it's Wednesday morning at 2 a.m. the rain gets there, and then it's gone pretty quick. You got like 3 hours worth of spotty showers before the rest of it comes back in again. There's another little surge there, if you will, that comes in right there at 9 p.m., 12 hours later. These are broken showers. There's nothing severe there, nothing remotely severe in Indiana. Tornado on the ground anywhere? Well, kind of hard to say. As you look at it here, we still have the 2 tornado warnings, and we always assume they're on the ground, just because it's the smart thing to do. And there's reason to believe it could be on the ground or cycling on through. So radar indicated, radar indicated, radar indicated. This is not an area where I think there are a lot of spotters for today. I think everybody's kind of trying to rest up further south for the day tomorrow. So I doubt there's a lot of people up there, trained spotters who are up there into the area. There's one who just reported that hail there a few moments ago. But again, these population centers, there's 71 people in this whole box right here. There are 71 people. 171, I'm sorry. 171 people is the consensus. The census number, 283. That goes over to Willard. So not a lot of people live here, first of all. And secondly, I don't think folks were ready to chase up there. They didn't want to go. It's a long 2 days, 3 days, beginning with tomorrow, moving through Texas. So it's quite possible that there's just nobody up there. It's that whole thing. If a tree fell in the forest and there was nobody there, did it make a sound? Tornadoes on the ground. There's just nobody there to see it in the dark. And I know we had we've had some data there, a correlation coefficient that we still have one. I mean, there's reason to believe there's a tornado on the ground right there, right now, south of Beaver. You can make a case for. And then right here, you see there's an anomaly right here. More than anything, I see this, and I really feel like that's something's on the ground. So I don't know. You'd have to be careful if you were a spotter and you went over there to chase for several days. Here's what you got to think about. So this stuff is moving what? East at 35 to 40. There's really no way to stay ahead of this stuff. If every road were straight, were exactly straight, you could. But every road isn't straight. So the deviation north or south to any road is going to put you behind. And I personally, if I was going to chase for days on end, I wouldn't have gone that far west. Brett's in Shreveport. I wouldn't have gone that far west to chase. First of all, it's at nighttime, so your video is not going to be that good. And it's not populated area, so any kind of damage would be, with 176 people living there, that's not that many homes. And so it's a good thing that, you probably wouldn't have a lot of damage here. This is something aloft. Right there, this is damage to something. You can't tell if it's the top of a tree or if it's a barn or whatever, but there's something going on right there. So I don't know if I go, you'd have to have several people in the car and everybody willing to stay up the entire night tonight, the entire day tomorrow, and the next. That's a difficult call right there. This right here is Oklahoma, western Oklahoma. Let me pull out and show you here a little bit more. Here's the panhandle of Oklahoma. Kansas up here. There's Oklahoma and Texas down here. I know it's a little bit hard to tell in some cases. And that's where our tornado watch is over northern counties of Oklahoma and southern counties in Kansas tonight, just south of Dodge City and Wichita. Don't want to forget what's happening down to the south here. I almost did that before, and somebody called me out on it. This is a thin line here. This is a 5-minute precip sort of thing. And I think this is the first two strokes of lightning that I've seen. But this line came out of nowhere. Obviously, there was some sudden lift that came from the front that caused this to take place, because it wasn't there and then it was, and it took like 20 minutes from nothing to something. So that's just south of Amarillo, back down to Lubbock, and through that area. Let me see. I know it's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can use this other satellite and still keep some of my roadways on there. I don't know. Is that any better? The towns are a little bit larger. Cities are. So, okay, knowing what we know now, knowing what we see, now's a good time where you go back and what are some of your favorite things about Radar Omega? That's a great question. Brandon, thank you. That's a great question. I've used all the others. I've used them since the minute they came out. All the others have been sent to me to use. And I used one for a long time before Radar Omega came out, and I don't even know how I really got on Radar Omega to begin with, but somebody recommended it to me about, well, I knew a couple of people who actually worked there, for one, but I was really interested in having everything as a one-stop shop so that I wasn't going from app to app to app. And now literally about anything you want is here. Now, let me tell you this. I work for them now, and there's a lot of this stuff over here on the left in the menu stuff that is still a little bit out of place. They know it. I don't hound them about it because it is so new, and they did, they could have held out all this stuff until they figured out exactly where to put it and some other things. They could have held all this stuff from you, but they didn't, and they've put it all on here, and like I said, it's a tad scattered at the moment. I can see, like this is a toolkit here, or outlooks and monitoring. Well, that should or could say severe products. And maybe you bring your own products over there and place them in order there the way you like them. Like there's severe weather here, there's tropical weather, which could be, it doesn't even need to be there this time of the year. So theoretically, you could take that out. Fire weather, not wild about that one. Winter weather, not two products that I would use. But you can see then there's weather alert settings down here, another pretty good ways away. So some of that stuff's clean up. And they know it, like I said, and I'm going to help point some stuff out from just other products that I've used for many, many years before. But I think the thing I like the most about it is that, if you get online and you write to them, they'll answer you pretty quickly. And literally, they'll try to do something about it as quick as possible. There's a few bugs here and there. I found a bug the other day when I was on the air. But one of the other things that they do very well is they're adding video to this product, and they have this one. If you go to the toolkit over here, and you look at Cyclone Port, this is their weather deal here, and this is their. It's twofold. I mean, one is it's got data, but it also has actual video of the place. It's dark there, so that didn't show up. Some of these places are just. Let's see. So this is Lexington, Alabama, and it's full screen. If I want to use it, it's full screen. Pretty good looking image there. Plus, it gives you the data here of what's happening in Lexington. If you just want the data alone, there it is up there. It'll tell you exactly what's happening. Tomorrow, I'm going to be using a lot of that. And the spotters that are out there, they have a network of spotters that are out there. Like, here's my guy, Brad Arnold. Brad doesn't have his camera on. Brad is a storm spotter, but he's got the data still going out from his vehicle tonight. So he's got 57 over 54 at the moment, and winds and everything. So he's all of his data is here, and I'll be watching that through the day tomorrow. Plus, I'll have his camera on while he drives along. He and Brett Adair and some of the others. I should have 5 or 6 on during the day tomorrow, have their video. And third, if you notice, there's a place over here just below my picture. It says Omega TV, and this is new, and this is what I'm going to be doing. Is if you hit that Omega TV, currently it says currently no stream. That will be me. That'll be me like right now. Anytime I go on the air, I want to go on the air, then it'll pop up right here within the app. So right now I'm streaming to you on LSM. I'll still be doing that. But also within the app, if you want to, just watch along, I plan to be on for every event. And it would be in this little window, this little box right here, which I think you can take and make whatever size you want to. And so I'm doing that. Oh, you can have a discussion? Get out of here. I didn't know that. Okay. Anyway, so what we're going to do is, for those who have Radar Omega, we'll kind of do, we'll just talk, I'll talk about what I see, what you see, and, I've been on radar now for 40 years. I've actually been doing this. And I've been the radar meteorologist wherever I've gone, the severe weather guys. So, I feel like I know quite a bit about it. I've given many talks on radar meteorology, and I like doing it. I don't know everything about it. There's still stuff that today. I mean, some of the products are still not new, but I see something new about it every time, or I seem to. And you just kind of look at it here and you go, I got to think 3-dimensionally. I got to think, it's a liquid, first of all, and I got to think 3-dimensionally. It's not expensive. I can't tell you exactly what it is right now because I really don't know at this point how much it is. It's not super expensive. It's no more than the other one. It's cheaper than the other one, I believe. And then you got just tons. I mean, there's so much over here that you could do, and I probably still haven't shown you the half of it. And it's all user. I mean, you got different base maps. These are the map types, different base maps in here that you can look at and use. Some of them use, a dark presentation if you want to. If it's easier on the eyes, that one's a little bit more difficult, I think, to see the state lines, isn't it? I don't know what it looks like over YouTube, but so it gets better and better every time I turn around. It's got all the features the other one does, too. You set a starting point. There's a little ruler here, 130 miles from point A to point B. You can draw a storm track. Let's just do this. So we know our storms are moving. Well, let me show you how we know our storms are moving. So we look at this box right here, and some of the information they always give you is a forward motion. These are moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. That's the one that had the golf ball size hail, but we know it's 35 miles per hour. So then I can go down here to the toolkit. I can draw a storm track, and I start where the tornado at least looks like it is to me. And I start here, and I draw my track up to here. And I know it's moving at 35 miles an hour, and I calculate it. So then I have a storm track. You can't see it because of my big head, but so now I have a storm track. It's really that simple. And it tells you the population, again, 97 people within that polygon that I just drew. So there's quite a bit of stuff. You can double box stuff. Let's say you wanted to show reflectivity, and if I want to show the velocity data with it, and I just double box it, side by side double box it. You can do stuff that way, and look at both products at the same time. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. But right now I look at that, I think I got a tornado there. It matches up right there with the velocity data pretty well. And it has a drawing tool that has, nice little color palette if you want to. The other thing it does too, I don't think the one of them does. And let me see. I can't actually do it because I'm using NDI to run this through, but you can take a screenshot with it if you want to. You can also record video. And if I hit the record video button, it gives you the choice. And it didn't show up there because I just ruined my NDI. Quit. Give me 1 sec. So I'm using something called NDI in order to take my iPad and put it in on the air on OBS. And so when I just did that, when I just did the save the video thing, it didn't like that. But anyway, you can record video. If you hit the record video button, it will ask you if you want to put your voice on it too. So you can make your own little, 1 minute long show if you want to. If you wanted to, you could make your own little 1 minute kind of a deal, and then it saves it as a MP4, I think. And you're good there. So there's a lot that I like about it, and I know it pretty well. I use it. I start out using it every day. When I wake up, I get on it. And again, all the modeling stuff is here. You don't have to go somewhere else. You got all of your models here. Your tropical models are there. The Worth the Mine. You got the GFS and the European that's on here. Out of the global models and regional, you got the 12 kilometer NAM and the RAP that's showing up. The HER is here. The high resolution NAM and the HER are both here. So you've got all the models that are here, along with the satellite stuff, NDFD. This is the National Digital Forecast data. I don't know what I did there, but how cool is that? I did something to the color table. Oh, and they just took it away from me. I don't see. That looks like a downburst to me right here. That's just a really high wind. What's that going to be, like a 60 or 70 mile per hour wind right there in the pixel? This is a mezzo now. This is spinning. This is a rotating storm, but the gap is too big there for that to actually be a tornado on the ground, I don't think. But there are two cells. Now, we were watching this. Remember, we were watching this one. That was two cells not that long ago, was it not? And now it's one. Did they merge? That was two small cells when we were looking at it a few moments ago, and we were wondering what they were going to do when they got together right here. And they merged. And you got one supercell. Forgot my window was open. I hear a jet. From Wisconsin. Tyler, what's up? From Madison. Where from Wisconsin? Yeah, G Ferraro. It's a cool app, and I'm going to do tutorials on it. I'm going to do products, like when you choose a product down here, like high-res velocity data. I have vision of there being like the letter I there, an information button where you could click on it, and there might be like a minute-long tutorial there of what you might look for when we're talking about severe weather, and do tutorials for all of these products that maybe you've never seen before, and you may not ever use. I mean, you can't use everything every time, but go back down to the south again, and we got the stuff still going on there. It looks like from Clarendon. We're really looking at the line going from Clarendon southward to Silverton into the Lubbock area there. We got a couple of little bow segments here, if you will. These are bowed out. When you see the segment bowing like this, all that really tells you is that the middle part of it is what is rotating the fastest. Not rotating, is moving the fastest. So it bows out. It's literally named after an archer's bow. When you draw it back, all of the energy's in the middle. So all of the energy really, at least the bulk of the energy here, is going to be in the middle of this bow segment, and the highest winds will be right there in the middle. This even has a little comma head on the upper part of it there. So these are small little bow segments. Wind makers, not they don't look like tornado makers here. These are wind makers. They're very small. The whole line is super thin, so it's not really creating a whole lot here in the way of precipitation, really, at this point. There is your tornado watch. They've gone ahead and pushed this further to the north now, and it's the Medicine Lodge area here that's still underneath that tornado watch. What did they do? Till 2 a.m. This is a tornado watch for southwestern Kansas and Oklahoma till 2 a.m. Couple of tornadoes are possible. 70-mile-per-hour winds, 1.5-inch diameter hail, although we've already had 2.5 being reported from a storm spotter there just a little bit earlier this evening south of Guyman. A couple of supercells into the Panhandle spreading eastward along the Oklahoma and Kansas border through early morning. And so they issued the tornado watch. And the possibility now is, I guess the possibility is that we have a tornado watch along the line for days. I'm trying to think in my head if there's a break tomorrow before we actually get more, but I don't know. We could have a tornado watch from here on out now, actually. Typically, I'd go on the air, within the hour of a tornado watch, but I don't think I can stay on all night tonight knowing what's happening tomorrow. Look at this thing wrap up. See, I believe this is a tornado. Just from reflectivity, you can see it winding up right here. And this is almost like a little debris ball trying to form. Let's see if it matches up now. When you look at this, and then we have to add other products to see if they match up. And again, the time down here at the bottom is 9:58. So we go to the velocity data, and it's 9:58. So the timing is the same. And so if we put our stuff side by side like this, I think we're seeing tornado genesis taking place right now. And while it still looks broad in the rotation, there's still a gap. See it right here? It's not tight to tight pixelization, gate to gate or pixel to pixel, but it looks like it's wrapping up right here. This is a dry air slot that's rising. We got hail there. Everything is present for this to go ahead and do its deal. This velocity data, we'll see what happens right there with the next frame that we'll get in just a couple of seconds, but we're looking at 9:58 is our time there. So right at the top of the hour. It's 10:01 now Central Time. And so we just got that. So we got a 10:01. Sorry, that's my cat. Hold on. My cat is beating down the door. Go away. Go away. Go. Go. Why is it if you want a cat to come to you, it won't come? But if you don't, and you're like, get away, it will stay and work its butt off to try to get in the door. Gigi Chad could produce a strong, violent tornado. What's that? What could? Watch Switching to Oklahoma Chasers. Switching to Oklahoma Chasers later. Good kitty. No, she's not. She's a stray, but she would run across my keyboard the second I let her up here, and we'd be off the air. Live in Tornado Alley all my life. I've never seen a tornado in 52 degrees weather. How old are you, Gator? We had quite a few last year. The temperatures were in the low 50s. I didn't see a question, Gator. I thought tornadoes were fueled by heat. Nope. Not, I mean, not totally. Dynamics. Tornadoes are made from dynamics. I mean, you ever seen Snownado? You ever seen, I mean, you can get them dynamically speaking. It's not the best, it's not the best setup right now, but dynamically, it's obvious the wind is kicking out of the west. You've got some big time shear with height right here. Big time sales. Hi from Chicago. K9 Radio. Thank you for being with us tonight. Appreciate that. If you have a question, I'll do my best to answer it here. I'm sorry. They're coming in kind of weird. Colorado Springs, Colorado. El Paso County. So I moved here from Arapahoe County about a year ago. Silly Feathers, Carmack. And I think I'm right on the line of bad storms tomorrow. Can you look at that for me? I'm in Carnac, Texas. Yes, I'd love to do that. I'd love to do that, but first, I'm going to have to find Carnac, Texas. New tornado warning. Now it's Kansas again. They just kind of pushed that one a little bit further onto the east. I'll get into that in just a second here, but stop. Oh, Carnac is on the border. It's you're over there by Clinton Lake, I guess. I think. Yeah. So timing on that is during the day tomorrow. We'll look at that in just a second. We'll go to the model now that they're all filled in here, and we'll do that in just a few moments. All right, I think I caught up with the questions here, at least into the short term. We still have reflectivity. We still have, reason to believe there's some rotation there. And this tube, it never tightened up, or it didn't in the last few minutes. It really didn't tighten up that much. So, two things here. The updraft can't sustain itself for very long when the temperature down at the surface is the same as it is aloft. Well, there's super cold air aloft. So you don't need the temperature to be in the 70s, the dew point to be in the 70s to see it rise. If you've got negative 80 degrees down at the surface and it's negative 90 aloft, that air is still going to rise. It's going to move. So it's not really a case of, if we got negative 70 degrees aloft at the 500 millibar level, if we've got, super cold air up there, which it is, and veering winds, then the 50-degree dew points are acting as if they're 60. We're not that far off from 60, so in the wintertime, 60-ish has always been my borderline number. And it's not, it's not prime. It's not what you would truly expect, but it's happening, so. Let's look now that the model has filled in a little bit more. Let's do that. And right now you can see that we got another severe thunderstorm warning. The 2 tornado warnings that we presently have still at the moment. It's this tornado warning up into southeastern Clark County, Comanche County. That goes until 10:45. The ping pong ball size hail is still there with a tornado near Sitka. It's moving to the northeast at 35. South of there near Gate, we still have that tornado warning. 8 miles to the southwest of Knowles, or 11 miles to the east of Beaver. Moving on through that area there too, where it still looks like there's going to be plenty of precipitation there through the night tonight, and maybe another round of thunderstorms that could be strong to severe. We don't know for a fact that none of that will be, but that's kind of what we're looking at here at the moment. And then everything else that's a little bit further down to the south. But that still looks like it's a rotating storm. I just don't believe it's a tornado that is on the ground. Let's move a little bit further. I didn't just do that, did I? Let's, now that the model has filled in, let's look at the 3K NAM. Now, it's not exactly the model of choice for me at all times when it comes to severe weather, but it's going to be pretty close, and all of the data is high res, so it's much easier to show in this sort of situation. So here's our front. Here's our blow up of thunderstorms. It did that pretty well. And normally when you look at them, let's talk about this too. When you look at modeling, forecast modeling, make sure that your model initializes the same way that the radar is. If you look at the hour, like right now the hour is 10 o'clock. So this model, this is the NAM that all the information went into it at 6. So at 0Z, all the information ran into this model at 6 o'clock. So it's really 4 hours old already. And it's now 10 o'clock. Well, does the radar look like this at 10? Not really. So already bothers me a little bit that it doesn't look exactly like the radar, the current radar, which is what it's, it should if the model were true. Does the HER, now the HER is a model that updates hourly, so it can take the information and keep it fresher. It's rapid refresh, so it's taking the data per hour. It's like the NAM, it's 4 hours old. Well, the HER is an hour old from initializing. So it already knew, it put the data in there as to what the radar was going to look like. And can't you agree that it looks right now closer, so much closer. It's got the 3 cells. The tornado warning's up here. It's got the line that forms south of Pampa back over to Lubbock, down to the south. The only problem with it is it only goes out to 18 hours. When it's done, it goes to 18 hours, except 0Z, 06Z at midnight, 12Z at 6 o'clock in the morning, and 18Z into the noon hour. And then it goes out 24. So, 48. So if I want to go out 48, I'm going to back this up and go to the 0Z, which was 4 hours ago, and see if 4 hours ago if it had the current radar. It was close. It had the feeling of what was going to happen in Lubbock. Didn't have it pegged, but it had the feeling for it. So I'm going to go to the O2, and the O2 did have, that's a much closer look at the radar. Thank you. Much closer look at the radar. So if I put this into motion now, we go through the next 24 hours, or 18. Midnight tonight, this is what it looks like, Dodge City all the way down to the south. It's a line that has begun to form. It's a very linear situation here at that point. Then you go a little bit further to the east, and it all stays very linear from Dodge City over to Wichita. Now it's a line coming through Oklahoma City at about 3 or 4 in the morning. And it's a pretty good honking line. I mean, this is going to be some high winds. An occasional tornado warning, I think, is possible still here early tomorrow morning. Especially down to the south, because these look a little bit more singular. These look more cellular, and these are linear, more linear along the line. They're sharing energy. The further to the north you go, they're sharing energy. So pretty much what you're looking at there. And then still headed on to the east into 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. It's east of Oklahoma City. The line is east of Oklahoma City. Now we'll start to look for some thunderstorms probably beginning to pop out in our warm sector, in our dew points that are into this, we're talking 60-plus dew points by this hour, 6 a.m. tomorrow. We're getting close to 60-plus dew points. And now we're driven more by the rising air because it's so warm down at the surface and moist and so cold aloft. So here we go. We move that along through 6 a.m. up to 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and now you can just see some thunderstorms beginning to form here. Lufkin to Beaumont, Port Arthur at 8 a.m. That's pretty early tomorrow morning when that initializes. But we could see some tornadoes pretty early in the day. Up to Shreveport and Little Rock. And this is 10 a.m. tomorrow morning. So the line comes into, and you asked me about Karnak in Texas. I think there'll be some thunderstorms around at noon by then. And I think where's it may not even show up on my map here. Karnak. I'm sorry, I lost Karnak. I can't remember where it was. It's near Oil City. Oh, it's far to the north. It's like Shreveport-ish. It's up here somewhere, and it's just not going to show up on my map. Very small place, I'm assuming. But let's just say we're talking about... it's even higher than Shreveport, isn't it? There it is, Karnak. So when does it come to Karnak? There's already some thunderstorms there at noon tomorrow. And then the line comes through like 2 p.m. into the afternoon. This right here would be the critical time. This would be when, if you're going to have something severe to pop up, I think this would be it. You can see there's single cells out there at this point, but the abundance of them are going to be south of 20. This is I-20 that goes from Shreveport over to Monroe. And pretty much all these single cell, supercell thunderstorms are down to the south here. There's a very definitive cutoff line to the north of really the border, I think we're talking about. How in the world? My location is somewhere in South Africa, and I don't know why. So that's the model there as we see it. I hope I answered your question there, Karnak. I think like noontime on. William, thank you so much. Um, Snow prediction for Cheyenne. Out of this thing, it's um it's not that much actually. I think the a big part of the moisture's gone. It still has you for 2 more inches, but it's kind of gone. The bulk of it has already moved east of you. I think it maybe wraps a little bit. Let me see if it wraps back around. No, kind of dry slotted there. Really, you're the actual low center is a little bit further to the south of you, so you're really not getting that easterly wind to begin with. You do like Denver does and get an upslope across most of those areas there up to Cheyenne too, but the low's too far to the north. In this case, the low's over here when you want it to be down here for Cheyenne to get a buttload and get that easterly wind. Same with Denver. This is not upslope here in Denver. That's just coming with the low. So there's really no help from an easterly wind here. That's all dynamically coming from the low pressure center there. Still have the 2 tornado warnings. Don't want to forget about them or get lulled to sleep by those 2 tornado warnings. They're still out there. They're still rotating. I don't see anything that just screams to me, though, at this point, but that's a tornado warning, and it goes for a little while longer. They put these things out to be like an hour long, so you still got a while on this one. It's going to be still out there for tornado radar indicated 10:45 until 10:45. So you still got almost 30 minutes on this thing. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado near Sitka. It's actually east of there. Moving northeast at about 35 miles an hour. So that's your tornado warning there. This looks very, very weak to me, but still has 30 minutes in it. That is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado down there too, but I don't see it. I don't see anything that looks very tightly packed there at all. Still getting a southerly wind at all these locations here, coming up from the south, moving northward, so nothing looks too bad there overall either at this point, and don't really expect it to be any different, if you will. So that is kind of what we're looking at. Any more questions? Because I may wrap this up for now. It's going to be a long, long day tomorrow. I really appreciate we've had almost 5,000 views tonight, and I really appreciate that. That's very kind of you. I'm really just kind of doing this. I've done this for many, many years, and I sort of retired about a year ago. I had a health condition. I'll just tell you, I had a stroke while I was on television. I almost had a stroke. I went into commercial break and had my little stroke where I was at, but it's in my blood, and so I'm really doing this for a hobby. I haven't made $1 from this just yet, but I just enjoy doing it, and I appreciate your questions. I love answering your questions, especially the serious ones. And so I'm going to be on with you tomorrow during the day. Brett Adair will be on with me. He will be out and about. He's down there in Shreveport, Louisiana tonight or somewhere down there. And so he'll be on with me tomorrow during the day. We'll be watching his car camera, talking to him through the day, see what he sees. It's a daytime event. It's a daylight event for much of it, especially the beginning. And so we ought to be able to see quite a bit of it. We got about 6 or 7 people that we can check in with and see their live video during the day tomorrow. And again, I hope that you're on with us. And all I would ask is that be very careful about, this is not a site where we're asking for everybody's opinion on what the weather's going to do. I saw that a couple times ago that really caused, it was a cluster. It was a cluster F, if you know what I mean, where people just got on and started saying where they thought stuff was going, and there was just so much misinformation. That's not why I wanted to do this. I wanted to do this so we could talk stuff out. So I appreciate if you have legitimate questions. If you're concerned about you or a family member who lives somewhere else, just put in your city there, and I'll be happy to try to answer anything that I possibly can, and to keep you informed. And like I said, if we continue with tornado watches through the early part of the day tomorrow, I'll probably come on and be on pretty early. I was thinking like noontime, but if we have a continuation of tornado watches, and you can see there's a new tornado watch now that does go. They're putting out these tornado watches left and right in weird places. I don't know why they just didn't make a look. Do you remember when you and I started this? And there was just this one little spot over here, and I wondered why in the world would they only do 12 counties? Well, they just did another batch of counties down here in southwestern Oklahoma, western North Texas. This is going to go to 4 a.m. A couple of tornadoes possible. We talked about this. Did we not talk about this? Why they only issued for that one small area there when almost every cell was out of the watch. Anyway, if we have a continuation of watches overnight tonight through the early part of the day tomorrow, I'll probably be on pretty early tomorrow, and I hope you'll join us. I hope we have enough information for you, and we can help keep somebody safe, keep you and your family safe. If you've got questions about family who might be in the path of this storm, we'll do that as well. And I just appreciate you being on with us. So thank you very much. I'm going to wrap it up for now. And Lincoln, Nebraska. No severe weather in Lincoln, no. No, Lincoln's too far north. There won't be any severe weather anywhere north of... well, everything you see way up to the north right there, that won't be that far in latitude tomorrow. Everything will be squeezed well down to the south because the jet's going to push way southward. So all the severe weather, you won't see counties like in southern Missouri underneath tornado watches. That won't be the deal tomorrow. All right, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much. Appreciate you being with us, all the moderators. Thank you guys so much for helping keep things straight. I don't think I saw one porn site pop up tonight. So that means Josh was doing his job. Everybody else was doing their job. And I think the last time somebody was trying to sell me pictures of their feet, it can get weird. Love you. Talk to you tomorrow.